friends, welcome to Next Level Consciousness with Linnea Stella. Today we are gonna talk about how to know when and if you can trust your emotions, so you don't wanna miss this. We're also gonna sprinkle in a little human design, of course. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe. It would mean the world to me and also to you because I have so much goodness channeling through. As you can see, I'm super excited. So today, let's dive straight in. So today we are gonna cover the 2 ways of experiencing emotions based on human design, which is a biggie, maybe the biggest takeaways of the entire human design system, and that is a big statement. We're also gonna cover when to listen to your emotions and when to trust your emotions and when to maybe take a step back. And finally, we are gonna cover how to distinguish intuition from fear. So let's start with the 2 different ways of experiencing emotions based upon human design. So in human design, one of the central concepts, like the first things that you learn about in human design, is the concept called authority. Now, there are 7, and some people argue there are 8 different kinds of authorities. But we are just gonna talk about the most common one, which is emotional authority, versus all the other authorities. So just in one phrase, authority means the way that you are designed to make decisions and the way that your intuition speaks, okay? So if you are among the 50% having emotional authority, it means that you relate to your emotions in a very different way than if you have any of the other 6 or 7 authorities, right? So we're not gonna go into each of the authorities, that's the topic for another video. But for now, let's just focus on what does it mean to have emotional authority and what does it mean to have the others when it comes to your feelings, your emotions, knowing how and when to trust your emotions. So let's start with emotional authority. I am among the 50% having emotional authority. And as the name suggests, you are a very emotional person. Now, okay, every person is emotional in one way or the other, but the way in which you are emotional is different. So if you have emotional authority, it means that you have a biological, like a biochemical process inside of you, independent of your surroundings, that creates a so-called emotional wave. What this means is that you are regularly, on a regular basis, going to experience different emotions. Okay, it's like a wave, it goes up, it goes down. Regardless of what's going on around you, that has nothing to do with your emotional experience. Now, for the other kinds of authorities, those who don't have emotional authority, it's the complete opposite. If there is nothing major going on in their life that affects their overall emotional state, and if they are just on their own, they are feeling very stable emotionally, right? So they're feeling very calm, cool, and collected. All is well. But these people are the so-called empaths. So among 50% of us. So that means that if you don't have emotional authority, you take in and amplify the emotions of people around you. So that means that is what I meant, that we are all emotional. We all experience emotions. And in fact, if you don't have emotional authority, somewhat contradictory, you might experience even more intense emotions because you take in and amplify the emotions of people around you. So if you are close to a person, experience, frustration, anger, irritation on a scale, on a 4, on a scale 1 to 10. You may experience an 8 on a scale 1 to 10, even though there is nothing going on in your life. You're just like an amplifier, you take in, you feel it even stronger. And that's just part of what your soul wanted to experience in this lifetime. And both of these ways of relating to emotions, like first of all, as everything in human design, there is nothing that is good or bad, better or worse, right? But both of them are gifts. It all depends on, are you able to set up boundaries? Because if we start with the emotional authority, you're gonna have this internal process. And that means, for example, an example from my life, in the beginning of the I was on a high and I felt so good and I felt like, whoa, I'm really meant to step up and serve, and I was hosting daily dance parties on my Instagram. I felt so good even though the world was crumbling around me. And I can also be on a sunny beach and everything is good and I'm surrounded by good people and I feel this kind of melancholy inside of me. with no explanation. So the top one, the most important question for you if you have emotional authority, or if you have someone around you, your family, your friends, your loved ones, with emotional authority, it's so important to not look for a reason, especially why you feel low, because that's what we have been conditioned to believe by society. Like, if you feel low, there is a reason for it. And maybe people around you will put pressure on you and ask, have I done something? Did I say something wrong? And then you with emotional authority can feel almost guilt and shame and like, oh my God, I shouldn't feel this way. Like, I had no idea why I feel this way. And then you feel even worse because you're adding to those lower emotions. So when you are in that low, retreat. Be on your own and just sit with your emotions and they will pass. Because your emotions with emotional authority, that wave is a gift for creating from different emotional states. Right? So you are gonna choose your word differently when you are on that high and you're high on life and everything is perfect. It's just euphoria, bliss, joy. You are gonna inspire people. People are gonna be drawn into your sphere because they feel that you're so high vibe and they feel unstoppable when they're around you. They feel inspired, they feel motivated. And when you are on that low, you're gonna be so good at pointing out what needs to change. So I know when I'm on the low, I can be like very critical and like, okay, this doesn't work in society. We need to change that. And you can still focus on the solution, but it's a different way. And it also can help people if you share like, okay, I feel a little down, I feel a little sad. It also helps people because it makes them feel less alone. So there's a gift in all states, not just the highs. That's the important thing if you have emotional authority. Now, if you have any other authority, if you are so-called non-emotional, I don't really resonate with that wording. Some people use it in human design. But if you have any other kind of authority, the question that you can ask yourself is this really my feeling? Is this really my emotion? Or am I just feeling what someone else is going through right now? Am I just tapping into the emotional state of someone around me? Okay, so that is very important, that you don't always need to like kind of sit with it and process and try to problem solve based on what you are feeling. Because it might just be that you are standing next to Karen here and Karen is really upset and frustrated. And then you feel even more upset and frustrated. You're like, I don't even know why. And then just let it pass. Okay, and also so important for you as someone sloppy, non-emotional, have healthy boundaries, okay? And it's not your responsibility to solve someone's problem just because you can feel into their emotions. That's the number one important thing for you. To ask, where's the emotion coming from? Is it even mine? And to see like, okay, do I really want to help that person? Do I have the energy? Does it feel aligned to help this person? And not just do it because you feel the pressure to do it. So when can you trust your feelings? Because we hear a lot like, either we are at one end, that is like the skeptical, the scientific people, like you can't trust your emotions, like you can't rely on your emotions. You must be rational and cold-headed and go on what makes sense. And then on the other hand, we have the maybe a little more spiritual. Going with the flow people that are like, oh, just follow your heart, just trust your emotions, and they're always right. I believe that as often the truth lies somewhere in between. And I am gonna make an attempt, like a bold attempt to guide you through how to navigate this very wavy landscape. I'm a Cancer Sun Pisces moon, so there's a lot of emotions for me. So regardless of if you have emotional authority or not, we can start by making the distinctions on what is going on the surface and what is going on deep within. So the fluctuations, the emotional fluctuations that you experience on a daily basis, they are like little waves. I'm close to the ocean now, so ocean analogies come easily to me. So they are like the waves on the oceans. And the waves, they go up and down. They can be bigger, they can be smaller. But deep down, there is stillness. There is peace. There is clarity. So my first invitation to you is to notice this difference. When you feel something, is this coming from like the fluctuations on the surface? Which if you are emotional authority, it can come from your inner emotional wave. If you are any other type of authority, it can come from people around you. Or is this something that comes from a deeper place? So already by setting the intention, it all starts with a setting the intention to learn to distinguish between the two. It's gonna be so much easier for you. And the way you can think about this is Maybe you've been on a beach and you've seen that there is red flag, yellow flag, green flag, depending on the size of the waves and the currents and things like that. So you can ask yourself, okay, right now, is it red flag, yellow flag, or green flag in my life? And once again, regardless of authority, but especially if you have emotional authority, don't make any decisions if you are in the red flag or yellow flag zone. Wait until it's green flag. So by starting to take daily inventory of your emotional state, you can learn, okay, what is a green flag for me? Meaning, in human design terms, when you are in that neutral place, that emotionally neutral place. Because when you have emotional authority, the number one rule is to not make any major decisions when you are on a high or a low, but to wait until you are in that neutral place. But that is also how you learn to distinguish when to trust your emotions and when to maybe take a step back. So once again, regardless of authority, is it right now for you? You can feel into yourself. Do you have red flag, yellow flag, or green flag? And if you have red or yellow flag, it's all about waiting for the storm to calm down, for the waves to calm down. Because I also like to see it as, if you are a surfer, if you have been surfing, I have been surfing before. I'm too chicken to do it right now. By the way, this is totally gonna be indexed by YouTube as some kind of biomarine surfers video. And not the emotional video, but whatever. So if it's a very turbulent state, the waves are high, you see that there is this red flag. It's also a red flag for trusting your emotions, right? It's also a red flag for making any decisions. And what we often feel urged to do, maybe compelled to do by society, is, okay, dampen the waves, still the storm, now. And you can also see it as when it's red flag, it's like when you surf and you fall into the waves and you are in that kind of tumble dryer state. So logically, you can't make any decisions because, you know, you don't even know what's upside down. You are like all over, you have the surfboard, what's it called, strap, everything. You can't see clearly. That is my point. So you need to wait until you are in that calm place, in between the waves. So when it's green flag and you can see clearly, because that is when you can trust your emotions, okay? Because then the emotion is gonna be your intuition, because your intuition speaks in energy, which is kind of emotions, but it's a deeper kind of emotion, if that makes sense. It's not that surface fluctuations like, whoa, I got a new like on Instagram, I got a new follower on YouTube, and oh, he didn't reply to my text, whatever it may be. Those are just the surface things. They're not the reliable inner guidance. So the answer comes from the depths. That is my point. The answer comes from the depths. And if you have emotional authority, very, very important not to try to still the ocean, because if you have been in an ocean, you can't just snap your finger and it becomes completely still. You need to wait things out. So my number one tip for you, take a step back and just sit with your emotions, let them be there. When what you resist persists, right? And also listen to the message, because when we have the stormy emotions, maybe they are trying to convey a fear for you, a fear about this decision that you are trying to make. Maybe it's about moving house, or ending a relationship, or starting a relationship, or quitting your job, or starting a new business, whatever decision that you are about to make and you want to trust your emotions around. Maybe that fear, that storm is trying to convey a fear to you, that it might be worth looking at and loving at. And sometimes that is enough, just looking at it, loving at it, and it will melt away. Now, if you have any other authority than emotional authority, your emotions don't necessarily interfere with your capacity to make decisions. But I will still, like, if you are in that very upset state, for anyone, I would recommend to wait until the storm has passed, and then you can listen within. And of course, it's always good with mindfulness practices, for example, meditation, to really take a step back and call your power back from the surface, the ups and downs, into your core, into your inner self, into your soul. And then it may also pass faster, but don't try to like accelerate the process. But that might be something that helps just be on your own and go within, maybe sit in ceremony also with other people. But really, the distinction we're trying to make here is this a wave on the surface? It can be a high wave trying to tell you, yes, this is so good for me, oh my god, this is so right. And then you say yes to something. This is a common pattern for people with emotional authority. And then the day after, you're like, oh my god, why did I say yes? I was just not temporary high. Or you can be in a temporary low and you're like, I'm gonna say no to this, and then you regret it. That is not a decision that is coming from the deeper parts of you. So to really identify, is it coming from the away from the surface, or is this something that comes from deep within? And I can also recommend you to take time if it's a major decision. Like, we often have this feeling that we are scarce in time, like the time deprivation, if you can put it that way, that we need to make up our minds now. But especially if it's a major decision, you can afford a couple of days to wait with this. And then you are also gonna judge if you can trust the feeling or not by seeing, does it last? Is it still gonna be there? Because you're gonna have a few days, you're gonna have the ups and the downs. Is the feeling still gonna be there? Well, then it's clearly coming from the deeper parts, because it's not affected by whatever waves you are surfing on the surface. So for me, for example, a very clear example for me, I often make very quick decisions. I often just know in my heart. I'm very connected to my intuition, but one time that I actually went against my intuition, but I could clearly see that it kept coming up over and over when I was feeling happy, when I was feeling sad, when I was feeling up, down, anywhere in between. That was the decision to start my YouTube channel. So when I felt in a good vibe and I was like, oh, I really want to help people more and I just want to share my light even more, my intuition told me start a YouTube channel. And I was like, I don't know. And when I wasn't alone, I was like, oh, nothing is working in my business and I feel like I'm not serving on the scale that I am. Like, I don't have the impact that I want to have. I still heard the same voice telling me, start your goddamn YouTube channel. Okay, and that's why I knew when this had been going on consistently for over a year. I was like, okay, actually, this is not gonna go anywhere. I need to start that YouTube channel. It's really coming from a deeper part of me. It's not coming from the waves on the surface. So that takes us into part 3. And that is how to distinguish fear from intuition. And this is something that I get asked a lot, like, how do I know if it's fear? How do I know if it's intuition? Already by starting to make this distinction in your daily life, okay, is it red flag, is it yellow flag, or is it green flag? Is this like a temporary emotion, or is it something deeper? That is gonna help you a lot. Also, to have some kind of daily spiritual practice, meditation maybe. We need both the yin and the yang. We need both the stillness and the movement. So maybe you feel like your energy is a little still, a little lethargic at the moment, and you need more movement. You can do some shaking, you can do some dancing, some kind of movement. Maybe that will help you to access deeper parts of yourself. Anything really that moves your energy, that gets your energy flowing freely. Sometimes it's movement and sometimes it's stillness. Will help you. But also, fear has a different vibration, it has a different energetic signature. Fear feels heavier, like when fear is trying to tell me, you should stay where you are. It has a vibration of contraction and not of expansion, right? And also another tip is that fear can often be explained. Like when you hear some kind of inner message and it comes from fear, you can often explain it rationally. It's based on logic, like, okay, you really feel deep in your heart that you want to move to Mexico tomorrow. But it's probably not gonna work out, it doesn't make sense, you don't have a job or any way of income there, you don't know any people there, you don't have enough savings, you should just stay where you are. That sounds like fear to me. Now, I'm not telling you to just go to Mexico overnight, but you get my point. When it comes from a deeper place, it's gonna be like, yes, just do it, trust, and you're gonna feel the urge. You're always gonna feel like, I can't help, I'm just being, hypnotized into going and book that ticket to Mexico, even though it doesn't make sense at all. Because I know in my heart, my soul, my spirit, that once I come there, something magical is gonna happen. The universe always has my back, because you know what? The universe always has your back. And you are living within a cage made up by your limiting belief. Your whole life takes place within the cage of your limiting beliefs. And when it comes from a deeper place, when it comes from your intuition, the intuition has the capacity to see around the dimensional corners that the mind can't. Okay, so when it comes from a deeper place, you're gonna feel that soul urge and you're gonna feel, okay, I can't really explain it, it completely doesn't make sense, but I'm just gonna trust. Now, how much risk you're willing to take in your life, I'm not going to speak for you, that is up to you to decide, but I want you to at least be able to distinguish, to feel like this carries the vibration of fear. It makes sense, but it also keeps me small, because fear wants to keep you safe. And that also means sticking to the familiar, to the known. Whereas your soul wants your highest expression, your highest expansion, which inevitably means going into unknown territory. Okay? So to recap, check if you don't know already, do you have emotional authority, don't you have emotional authority? You can check your human design chart, for example, on mybodygraph.com, where it actually says at the side of the chart if you have emotional authority or any other authority. So you don't need any kind of human design skills. You don't need to book a reading with me. You can book a reading with me. I have a few openings for life purpose reading where we really connect all the dots in your chart and weave out your life purpose according to human design. But this, you can just check it online for free. And also, if you have emotional authority, to not ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Because you are on a regular basis, on a cycle that is unique to you, gonna feel high and low. Okay? So don't try to look for the cause. Just sit with your emotions and just honor your emotions, whatever their frequency. If you have any of the other authorities, ask yourself, is this my emotion or am I just feeling the emotion of someone else? You can also ask yourself, okay, do I feel like I need to help this person just because I feel their emotional state? Or can I just put up my boundaries and be like, okay, it feels aligned, it feels right, then I can help this person. It doesn't feel right, then I stay away. But it's not my responsibility to help someone just because I feel how they feel. You need to tend to your own energy first. And then the red flag, yellow flag, green flag, to distinguish, okay, am I in a place where I can really trust my emotions? Because emotions are coming from the depths of the oceans and not from the waves on the surface. And then also remember that fear carries a heavier vibration of contraction, of keeping you safe in the known. Safe. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for you. I love you. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll be back soon. Love you.